we made some crazy decisions. Like, I mean, we stepped into full-time ministry right before we got married.
Oh, wow.
And so we arrived at our wedding. The only money that we had in our bank account was the money we got at the wedding.
When we first got married, I was so mad at him. Having to do everything.
Do you feel I respect you?
Coming from, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, a lot of verbal abuse, just fighting within family,
Okay, I start gaining weight. And you start to notice, I'm always on somebody's diet, so this is a good one to ask. Your response?
If she's
tell the truth and shame the devil. Because this really did happen during the pandemic.
Wait. Do you feel I satisfy you sexually?
He knows I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I don't talk about
Don't worry,
this
it's just
stuff.
me and you in the room. What are we talking about, children of God? Maybe you never been with a rich devil.
Why aren't you married already?
How real should I be?
4 words. We need to talk.
In any trouble that someone goes through, they definitely have to look on the other side and say, I'm going to make it out of this and I'm going to be better than I was before.
Dare yourself to believe, even if that truth stands at odds with my past. I'm going to say it, I'm going to believe it, and I'm going to walk in there. Thank you so much for being here. We have the Coggins with us, Randy and Kharie.
Yes.
Man, my wife stumbled upon you guys. How did she know?
I don't know, but I know it was divine.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was looking for a couple, and I had no idea you were even in Atlanta. I just reached out with him like, we could fly him out, or they could drive here if they're not.
She
So
could fly.
it was just the goodness of God that you guys are here.
Yeah, man. And we're just super blessed. Once I found out a little bit about you guys' story, you guys are young. Yeah. So tell me, because you guys have been married for how long?
It'll be 10 years. So right now, what month? February 24, right?
Uh-huh.
So in November of 24, it'll be 10 years. Married.
So November 24th, you'll be 10 years
November
married.
1st, 2024 will be 10 years.
How old are you guys now?
29.
29. So that would mean that at
20.
At 20?
Wow, babies.
Got married at 20.
So you guys got married. We got married at 22.
Don't ask me, I'm bad with the numbers.
So you guys were super young when you guys got married. I kind of want to find out why and how did that happen. 20 years old, I'm sure there are some people like, yeah, you guys are young. And that was like 2010, no, 12, 13, 14?
14.
Yeah, 2014.
2014 when we got married.
Yeah.
2012 when we got together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to think about it.
Yeah.
So how did it happen? How did you guys just ignore everybody that might have been, telling you this was a bad idea? And how did you guys jump into it? And why? Why do you think that you guys just had to get married?
Oh gosh. I didn't care, honestly. I did not grow up the way Randy grew up. And so I had a few people in my family say little things, not to my face, but little things, and just being young and all that, families, they get concerned and all that. But I knew, I know it sounds so cliche, but it's like when you know, and I know it sounds so funny, but Paul Walker?
Yes.
So that's...
Yeah. Yeah. He's a prophet today. What did he say? What did he minister into your life?
No, I know he's passed on a bit, but I love Paul Walker. And then when I was 15, that's when I got saved.
Okay.
And I did not grow up in church or anything like that. I don't come from church, none of that type of background. So very two different backgrounds, very two different dynamics. And all that to say, though, when I was 15, I know I'm jumping everywhere, but I would journal. And I was like, God, I want a guy that looks like him.
I was 115 pounds. Oh, man, we were little, man. I had just graduated high school at that point.
I was saying
Yeah. And
This is blowing my mind. You guys met. You just got out of high school. You're 17.
we went to the same high school and didn't know each other.
Oh, wow.
At one point, for a short period of time.
Okay.
And so now, at 30, looking back at all that, you're like, okay, we could have, we sit and we talk about, we could have done this, could have did that, and we could have waited. It may have been smarter to have waited a little bit longer, but then we wouldn't have had the journey that we've had.
The lesson.
Because a lot of people like to arrive,
Yes.
but not a lot of people like to take.
Oh, so he wanted to start preaching to
Well, I have a question. I know you probably gonna make it go real deep.
Does that answer that question?
Oh, yes, you did.
So my question would be, would you advise people to get married young? I know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I just, hearing about the journey and saying we could have waited, but we're going to rush. So would you advise, like, your
Can you
kids?
answer that first?
Oh
Your
my
kids.
gosh, I think about that a lot
Yeah.
now. And I think about, our son is 8 now, and we're, 29. So I had him 4 days after I turned 21. And so, yes. And so I think about that now, and I'm like, man, we call him Bubby, and I was like, man, if Bubby wanted to get married, and we've talked about this, I'm like, if Bubby wanted to get married at 20, which I would just, and I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I want to be in a place to where we could help him with his future wife. And I think about that a lot. But, if he is happy, if they are healthy, if he feels like, okay, like, Mom, this is it, I'm all okay.
Yeah, I would somewhat agree with that on that aspect. But I think I would go a little, because I've done this with my brother, a little bit over the top, to where, hey, take your time a little bit. Let's see, let's get a little things. You don't have to rush. Because like my brother, he got engaged. 2 months later, they got married.
2 months and then married.
Yeah, 2 months. They just did a fast pace, a quick work. Quick work.
That's probably a nice little simple way.
Yeah, quick work. But it's beautiful. And it was great. But, rushing, trying to do everything, get it done. Yeah. But that's what they wanted to do. And so there was some advice that I was giving him. And then even advice that I've given others. Like, think about this. There's some things that we could have done differently and waited on. And, we made some crazy decisions. We stepped into full-time ministry right before we got married.
Oh, wow.
And so we arrived at our wedding. The only money that we had in our bank account was the money we got at the wedding. Going on a honeymoon.
And it wasn't much.
Oh, I could speak to that.
So you talking about hey. And there I believe in God, we're going to travel the world, we're going to reach people, kingdom work, all that stuff. But that's like...
I guess I look at it as, like, at that point, I want to be able to do, I guess, help them, in that way. Because whether they have or whether they don't, it's like, I don't know, I think about us and I'm like, we got help here and there, but it wasn't, I want to be able to do that for them. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like,
no, I get what you're saying. You want to be able to help everywhere your parents wasn't able to financially provide, because I think that's a lot of the issue sometimes. And when you don't see it being done healthy, like for me, my mom wasn't married, so she couldn't give me too much advice either. She had been married, but she didn't stay married. Yeah. So you just want to be able to, continue to encourage. So I definitely understand.
I guess I don't want him to feel the way I know I felt. We didn't have anything, and so I didn't want to. I never want to be a burden on anybody.
Yeah,
So I never want him to have to feel that.
It's so funny how the largest demographic that watches what we do is between the ages of 24 and let's just say late 30s.
Yeah.
And I feel the weight of their weight, like God, when there are men and women that say that they're waiting for marriage and they want to be married, but when you guys are talking, it's just like, man, it seems like it worked out better when you started young. On this next generation, Generation Z, they're getting married. What is the encouragement? How do they approach such a bleak atmosphere? What can they adopt? How should they set their mindset to prepare for, to walk into this thing? Because it just seems like, man, I don't want to walk away from this conversation saying, well, it skipped you. So, well.
I think it's in the mindset of it's never too late. It's never too late to start over. It's never too late to find the right person. And so whatever season of life an individual may be in, I don't care if it's 24, 34, 54, 74. I have sat down with couples who they were great, went through a season of life, everything just shattered, and they had to start over at 60. But they had each other. Don't let a current situation stop you from pursuing that which God has for you. Because situations change.
And sure,
things can be here today and gone tomorrow. And I know in my personal life, with my side of the family and things, different seasons of life, ups and downs. But, it's never, God has a special way of beating you right where you are.
Yeah.
And no matter if it's your fault or not, He has a special way of meeting you right where you are. And I think it's just keeping the faith.
Yeah.
And keeping the faith in that season and in those times while you're waiting. And I think it was a guy, Pastor Stephen Furtick, said this one time, even if you got to do it afraid,
come on,
do it.
Come on.
Do it afraid.
And I think
some people wait till the perfect moment.
That's it. I think that's it.
There's never a perfect moment.
Yeah. Another thing he said, he's like, and it stuck with me. I know I've told you this before. He said, "You can never be ready, but you can always be prepared." So that has always stuck with me.
Yes.
In everything, in any season of life we've walked through. I've always kept that in mind. And having babies,
Yeah.
You're never ready. If you go to another stage,
You think, I know a little bit, and then you learn one right. I didn't know that then. You're right.
And so it's like you can try to get prepared to be married and have kids, all that stuff, but you're really never ready. It's like you're never ready.
And I think that's my grandma used to say to my oldest brother, "You know so much, you don't know nothing."
Yeah.
And I think that's what, a lot of the people that, we're looking like, why you not married yet? Because they're waiting for, I need him to be this, I need him to be that. So I find the beauty in getting married young is you're so ignorant that you have nothing but to depend on each other and God, because you don't have all those expectations of he needs to make this, because what if he makes this, or what if she's doing this, but they won't be able to do it 10 years from now. It's a couple that we follow on Instagram where his wife had a brain aneurysm.
Yeah.
Beautiful couple. I'm sure when they got married young, she had no idea that man was going to take care of her like he's taking care of her. Wow. So I really would love people to put down all these notions of they have to have this, they have to have that, and just say, what, God, I want what you have for me. And I think we will see a lot more people, especially in the Black community, come together, because now I'm like, some of these requirements, I'm like, oh my goodness. Where you gonna get that from?
You can't even go to the Cheesecake Factory.
Don't start.
That's our spot.
I was just about to get some today too, but I'm trying to watch myself.
What's your favorite cheesecake?
Well, I used to work there, so I like the original.
My mom did, and she would bring all of them. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mommy, yes.
She fell asleep in the napkin room one time.
Really?
I did. Yeah.
She was sitting
because she was there all the time, huh?
Well, yeah. I was sleeping from school, so I was like, she let me stay there. So.
Oh, that's sweet. Okay.
But on that last note that you just said, I think you guys are coming up on like the major issue here, because it seems like, man, especially Black women in Atlanta, they're killing the game financially, educationally. But I think maturing, I think there's a beauty to maturing, but the other side of maturing, or maturity, the idea of maturity, thinking that you've accumulated particular level of knowledge, wisdom, experience, it's almost keeping people at bay. The more you experience, the more hurt you experience, the more trauma you experience, the more failed relationships you have, the more you go into every situation guarded. And so we're talking about getting married. That's only the small piece of it. Staying married. And not just staying married, but staying married and staying in joy and peace and love and purpose. That's a whole different story. So I want to just for the last little point in here, just to find that line that we have to draw between what's foolish and what's full of faith. Because you guys lived a life that was just full of faith. You guys 19, we're going to do it. We're going to do it scared. We're ignorant. Let's just do it. And I think there's a level of that going into faith. God needs us to have this childlike faith that says, God, I have this experience. I have this understanding. I've been through these situations, but I trust you beyond my experience, beyond my understanding. And it requires the childlike faith that says, I know 1 + 1 = 2, but God, you said 1 + 1 = 1, and I'm going to trust and believe that 1 + 1 = 1. So I think our issue, especially in the Black community, is that we've garnered and gathered too many ill experiences, and we're using that as lenses to see each other through. And so now we can't get together or stay together, because it's always, there has to be something better, or there has to be something on the other side, or there's no point in getting with someone who doesn't financially have it all together, because it has to look like this, because the economy looks like this. But to actually survive and build together with someone and the trust that God is going to see you through, especially when you have experience, especially when you've gone through what you've gone through. It takes, I would say, the faith level that you guys had at 19 for the person who had gone through experience or been divorced, it takes another level of trust in God to say, God, I'm willing to trust you in spite of my experience. I'm willing to trust you in spite of what I had and what I see. Because even with my wife, when she met me and what I had and what I had going on for me, anybody today would have advised, this is not.
Yeah.
But there were, even a few years ago, where I was financially, the decisions I made,
They still would have
someone
said.
from the outside looked at it, she would have been like, baby, you need to find something else. But these are people that are only able to see the now, but we have a God who sees the end from the beginning.
Yes.
So trusting him when it comes to relationship looks like, it kind of really looks like childlike blind faith. Where does wisdom come into that? Because like you said, I say get married young, and you said, I say take your time. What's that fine line when it comes to trusting God and being all out, being foolishly trusting God and then just having some wisdom?
It's kind of like, it reminds me of the story of Abraham, right? They were believing for a son, right? And kept trying. But there was a promise. And I think if you have a promise, then you got a hope. And if you have a hope, then you have a reason to get up. And so like the Abraham type faith is saying, God, I know you promised it, but I don't know if it's going to happen today, but here I am again. I'm going to try again. Same thing with people who have been in relationships, marriages, and that have failed. There's still a promise in you. God said, I got somebody for you. But you're not going to get that somebody if you don't just show up again. If you don't try again. And so I think a lot of us sit with a promise sometimes saying, God, I know you promised it, but their faith, there's an activity that comes with faith. Faith without works is dead. So I can have a promise all day long, but until I put some action behind that, the promise will never be fulfilled. So twisting that to fit into relationships today is staying married takes action.
Well.
We have a promise. God said when we said I do, for better or for worse, that was us putting faith into action. But then it didn't stop on November 1st. We had to stop and say, God, I know we're going through all this, but here I am again. Here, we're gonna try this again. Because eventually Abraham and Sarah, they tried and passed the test. And God gave them a child. And so I think it's with relationships, with marriages, with getting married, staying married, all of those things. It's about having faith, but having faith for your promise, but also going after your promise. Because God doesn't make you go after it.
Come on.
It's almost like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
How bad do you want the marriage to work? How bad do you want the relationship to work? How bad do you want to get married? But there's a difference in going after what God has promised you, but then being desperate.
Well,
That might be another podcast. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
That walking that line. It's like,
Absolutely.
I got faith, but yet we're going through this, but it's a decision.
But the showing up again, like that means a lot of different things. Showing up again means showing up willing to love again.
Yeah.
Because being open to love is showing up with a heart posture that says, I'm not gonna hold you at hostage with my lenses, with my broken lenses, with my broken experience. I'm not going to paint you negatively based on the things that were said to me, done to me. I'm going to give love a chance. Of course, in wisdom, I'm going to use discernment. I'm going to make sure I'm careful. I'm not just willy-nilly going to shoot the club up and just pick, anybody mo. But in my discernment, in my leading, when I get to the space and I show up, God, I'm showing up surrendered.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the hardest part, especially when you're getting married, but especially when staying married. To say, God, I trust you with my heart first before I trust another person. That's a challenging thing, because your mind forces you to believe that you're literally at war against another person, when the Bible tells us we wrestle not against flesh and blood. Even in our, we don't think about that when it comes to the person that you love. But if there's an issue between us, I want to fight the issue. I don't want to fight her. And there's an issue between you guys, you're not fighting. You guys hold each other up. And so deal with those issues and be able to see those with lenses, saying, God, I surrender my bitterness. I surrender my unforgiveness. I surrender the things that get on my nerves. And God, I'm showing up surrender. So that's real good. I'm taking that with me. I want to play this game. So we created this game called Ignite a few years ago. It comes in this pink box, super pretty. But we ran out, and so we're planning to relaunch them with just this new packaging and all that. And so I sent you guys some questions. I hope you don't cheat, so don't practice. I want you guys to be able to ask each other some of those questions to ignite, number one, the affirmation, the love, communicating in ways that we don't naturally communicate. We Netflix and chill all the time. We deal in business and talk about the kids. How many times do we sit down and talk about the things that really matter, so that we can hear the things that have been sitting on our hearts, whether that be in affirmation or whether that be in constructive criticism. And so we're going to go around the table. You just kind of pick one from the list of questions that we have. Next time we'll have cards, and we'll be able to play at Cheesecake Factory.
There you go.
Okay. So I'm gonna let you start, and then we're gonna swing.
All right. So I'm asking her this question, right?
Yes.
All right.
Or is a statement? I don't know.
Okay. Yeah. The statement is. Okay. The statement is that was on the card.
Don't be scared.
I don't thank you enough for blank.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
I don't think it. So I'm answering that question.
You're saying that.
I'm saying that to her. Okay. So I don't thank you enough for all that you do for me and our children. 100%. See, 100%. I would not be able to do what I do every single day, week in, week out, without her doing what she does.
Wow.
Every step of the way. Yeah.
They need to know that, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, this one you're gonna like. It's one personality trait I wish I could borrow from you is, for me, that would be, I would say, your confidence and the way you adapt so well. It's not to say that I'm not confident, but your level of confidence is, I just remember, the preaching engagements that you would get, or when people would say no to you, you would still walk up in there and just let people know that you're there no matter what, and just the way you are. I mean, the way you are now, even, I think, man, if I had a little more of that, I don't know. I think that's a really strong quality that a lot of people don't have, and you have that.
Okay.
I love that. I was reigniting home.
Okay, so I'll let you go first.
You'll let me know.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought since you let this young man go first, then you would go first. Okay. So you guys both took two that I was going to say, so I don't want to keep repeating ourselves. You have grown so much in the area of helping with the kids. Like when we first got married, I was so mad at him because he did not even think like me. He says, I'm going to do this. I'm like, well, who going to watch this baby? So I would always just stay behind and have to do everything. And I don't remember what year we finally talked about it, because he didn't even know I had attitude. I would just have attitude. And my mom, she would even say stuff like, he just left you with this baby. But I would cover him like, oh no, but in my head, she gets it. So you have grown so much in the area of health, and we have 5. So I really appreciate that. Even sometimes I don't feel like cooking, and he doesn't even ask me like, what do you cook? He'll take care of it. So I really feel like you have grown in the area of just seeing anything in the house, not even just with the kids, anything in the house, grocery shopping, you know, it's like we're really a team.
Thank you. I am the man, but that's
You're not supposed to gloat in and somebody telling you.
I appreciate it. I'm going to steal one of his, personality trait. One personality trait that I wish I could borrow from you is the way that you love and care for your family. You mean outside of our kids? Like my wife, she just calls everybody in your family and she answers everybody's calls and she's on the phone with them for a good amount of time. Like I struggle to keep up with my mom, my dad, everybody. I just be on the go. And when it's time, I have to like talk myself into, okay, I'm going to make this call. I got to do this more. Let me send this message. But my wife, she's nothing like that. Like everybody can depend on her and her family. And people could depend on me, but just not communication wise. Like I'm really bad with communication, and you just, I mean, and your heart towards like your grandparents, you're like, I just wish I could be there to help them. I'm just like, man, I feel like let's find a way to hire somebody. But she's like, no, I want to be there. I need, like, even this goes back to my kids, just the way that she loves on the kids and she looks after them. When they go on field trips, she has to volunteer to go. I'm just like, these teachers would never see me. But it's just, her heart is just different. And one of the things I noticed about you even before we got married was when your brother called and said he was hungry at his job. And then I just saw you scurrying in the kitchen and making stuff. I'm just like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm about to go bring him a sandwich. I'm like, he works hard. She was like, yeah, and he said he was hungry. I'm just like, I wouldn't do that for my sister. And I was just like, okay, if she could love her brother like this, I'm not going to have no problems. Yeah. So I really admire the way that you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
That's awesome.
Back to you.
That's awesome. I got one more, right?
Yeah.
So the next one is question. Do you feel I respect you?
100%. I've always felt that way.
Why?
Coming from.
Why?
It's funny though because being funny with questions like it's like a dating game, of course, but even now married, I'm always one to like bring that sort of thing because I want to know, and so I'm like we're laying there in bed, it's midnight, I'm like, hey, it was last night. I think that's
it was last night.
What do you like about me?
What do you like about me? Why?
But yes, coming from where I come from, I didn't see much of that growing up, and so like I said earlier, I had never had anybody open up the door for me, and all that, and so he has never raised his voice at me. I don't understand how a person can be so mellow. I don't know I said it earlier, but I'm like, don't you get mad? Because I know I do sometimes. Right. But no, he has always respected me. You've always done a really good job about that. Always made me feel loved. Yeah.
And there's a difference between love and honor. You can love someone and not honor them, but if someone could say, I feel honored by you, that's a different level. And so seeing her say that to you after 10 years, that's man, you getting cheesecake back.
I want chocolate cheese pasta.
Oh, my turn. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Okay. Okay. This one is the one that says God has used you too, and I would say, there's a lot I can say to that. God has used you to help me with patience, with help me loving myself. God has used you to change the way my mind works. That's a big one.
You want to say it?
Yeah, what?
I was very negative growing up. I come from a lot of dysfunction, and when I met Brandy, I'm like, man, he is very level-headed. He's always been level-headed. He's always been like that, and just coming from emotional abuse, verbal abuse, a lot of verbal abuse, just fighting within family, not just my mom and dad, but just within the family. And so seeing that, I did not see a lot of respect that we were talking about. I didn't see a lot of like love, really. And I know that God has really used him to show me how to love myself better. coming from, suicidal things and depression and anxiety and things of that nature. That's a whole mind shift in itself. That's a whole nother, deal. And so I just think that God has used you to help me out with a lot of those things mentally and emotionally. You've been
Cross, yeah, y'all about to make me cry. I want to say this a little briefly. I think sometimes we underestimate when God brings two people together, the tasks and assignments that God has that He wants to execute through the other person. Right. And for you to say, God has used you to do this in my life. I wonder when people are thinking about this person that they're trying to get with and how cute they look beside them and their haircut or if they even really know what assignments God has to execute through them. And so, man, thank you for being faithful to the assignments that He's given you. Because, man, that's part of the greater purpose. You position her better. You shape her better. You chisel her better by letting God use you to love her in that way. And I hope people are listening to this to know, like, man, you're not just getting married to look cute, to take nice Instagram photos. Yeah. There is assignments for you. She's talking about depression and suicide. You're not praying for that. Yeah. But when God puts you in position, it's an honor to fight alongside the work that God has for you. So that's really good.
That perspective is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
That was good. Okay, I start gaining weight, and you start to notice. I'm always on somebody's diet, so this is a good one to ask. Your response?
I've always told her. I've always been about the yams. She losing weight. She's losing weight for herself. She's like, so how much weight do you think? Like, when I say this, I mean, of course, if she's
tell the truth and shame it, because this really did happen during the pandemic.
Yeah, wait, let me get there. If she's fit, to the next level, I'm gonna be proud of her, and of course, I think she'll look good.
Okay.
But I don't have no problem with some weight.
Tell me what happened in real life.
But here's the thing. I know how she is. So good. I know how she wants to be presented. And so we were in LA.
Yeah. Come on, cover yourself, man.
We were in LA and she was outside. She was finna say hi to a friend. And then at that time, we were just having a good time. And I was just like, baby, it's time.
Yeah, he said it's time. And I knew exactly what he meant. But I didn't even say what you mean or what. I just started talking to me. He said, it's time. He was like, okay. And I signed up for a gym as soon as I got back to LA. But that pandemic, I was
crazy time.
Oh, I ate so much.
Crazy time.
The grocery stores, they didn't close. Everything else closed, but they didn't close.
Yeah.
Listen, and I was saying this on the last show. Like, I have such a high regard for my wife. Like, if my wife was just for me, then of course. But I know what she wants to do. I know how she wants her clothes to be, stuff like that. So I'm always gonna fight for her. And so that's where that came from. It wasn't because I personally wanted.
I think that's real of you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate you
can do that, and not everybody can take that though.
Yeah, because I've been mad. Yeah, if I look back at a picture, you let me get this back.
Right.
Even your perspective.
She's done that for me. What you see?
Yeah. That's it.
And okay.
Yes.
My hair?
I take full credit.
I didn't have this hair when we shake your hand now.
Oh,
I don't I am a product.
Oh my God. Yeah.
No. This is important. A lot of listen. When people watch this video, they be like, see, but they're just so cute.
Yeah, that's true.
But look at just how they're dressed, and they're so stylish. Yeah. Everybody looks at the finished product and say, well, God just...
Y'all didn't see me in 2014.
Talk heavy.
But my suits didn't fit.
Talk heavy.
And I'm not going to talk about y'all.
And my shirts and
and I've been watching, look, both of you guys are great, so I'm sure it's because you guys have bounced off of each other. Like, baby, do this, do that, so...
100%.
And I don't always say it. I should probably say it in a nicer way, because I'm very straightforward with him.
Yeah, I'll come out shouting.
Yeah, I'm like, no, and he has gotten like a little mad. I'm like, you over to tell you?
Come on. That's your friend.
So I'm like, look, I'm going to tell you because I want him to look the very best. Yeah. We represent each other. Yes. And I'm like, Randy, I want you to look, from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. I want you to look like,
good.
Yeah. I don't buy anything.
No,
really?
No, I buy everything.
Everything I wear, everything.
haircut, everything, the hem.
It goes through the marketing.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I know he does a lot, like, on screen and just like with people. And I'm like, I want you to look good, And I know that he likes to look good, so I'm like, I'm just,
Y'all look, get yourselves a wife and get upgraded.
Are you gonna ask your last question?
Okay. She's gonna get nervous about this.
What?
Do you feel I satisfy you sexually?
He knows I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I don't talk about
Don't worry,
this
it's just
stuff.
me and you in the room. It's just me and you. See,
My teeth
don't.
Yes. All right.
Yeah.
I'm not about you. You know I'm not. Yes.
No, but take it down because
Hey, she did the same way. Tell me about it.
I'm like, Randy, don't you
What do you like about it?
Thank you, sir.
Everything.
Okay,
Everything.
Okay, so
moving right along.
So there are a lot of women that are not satisfied in their marriage. So I personally,
But that is true.
Yeah.
I'm a student for this thing, so I always ask her. I'm like, okay, during and after, like, what can I do better? What did I do? How did I? What do I need to do? And she'll tell me.
Yeah.
Like we're like.
See, so I had to ask me in front of everybody.
Because I want the people to know.
But
we've had these conversations.
Hey, piggyback on that. It's like, we were young. We didn't know what we were doing. And so, but seriously, just listen.
Yes.
I'm like, Randy, just listen to me, please.
But communicate. For real, like,
That's a major thing. And I'm like, I remember my godmother. Oh my God.
we got it right these 4 times.
Stop. No, but I remember my godmother saying, Kharie, just say it in a nice way. I didn't always say it in a nice way. I'm like, because you get aggravated. So I learned.
Come on.
And so, this is real. And people really have issues with this.
Yeah. Right.
And so, I learned to say it nicer, and we learned to listen, and I'm like, Randy, if you just listen to me, we can get this thing going. And so,
And that's the part, because a lot of people don't even understand that they have to be vocal about it. They think that we're just, and I don't know where they supposed to learn this from.
Yes.
So when they get to it, like, how did you and your husband? I'm like, well, didn't you talk? And they're like, almost to tell them? Like,
Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah.
and it's uncomfortable, but you have to have those uncomfortable conversations.
I could have a conversation with him, but don't do that on screen.
Yeah, of course. But there are some women that have never told me. They said that's gonna hurt their ego if you tell a man that he needs help.
She don't mind her.
I just helped. It's supposed to be secret, but I just helped a friend get better in the aspect of sex by telling him, "Hey, try these things and ask her, talk to her."
Yeah.
I gotta talk to her. I'm like, talk to her, and he's been testifying ever since.
Come on.
and she's been testifying too. So
It can get awkward, but you have to do it.
But
you gotta spend the rest of your life.
You'll be surprised how that makes life better.
Yes.
Decisions, maybe not mad at each other.
Mood.
All that stuff.
And I
Seriously,
believe
it's
even, it's like when the Bible talks about 2 becoming 1, just even with him helping around in the house. Sometimes he'll do stuff for me and I don't even ask.
Listen, I be sowing seeds for nighttime. I sow seeds in the daytime. So
Come on.
I'm just trying to let the Holy Spirit work through me. Now, we do have to do something like this over some dinner. I think there's so much, and we gotta go through more of these questions. That's fine. Get a bigger group, and we can just go around and talk.
100%.
I want people to know about what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
You guys have blessed me. I've been just a fan, just with the little time I have, just to watch you guys navigate your messages. They're just heart-piercing and just full of life and hope. I want people to know about your ministry, how to find you online.
Yeah. So I'm the campus pastor at Seven Springs Church.
What's it called?
At the Seven Springs.
Seven Springs.
It's our website, sevensprings.church.
Okay.
And that's at the Lithia Springs campus.
Okay.
And that's in Lithia Springs, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta.
Okay.
And so I'm the campus pastor there. And then I've been in full-time ministry now, going on 10 years. Almost in time we've been there. So we're going on 10 years this year. And so before I became a pastor in 2020, I was on the road full time. So 80 to 100 days a year and traveling here, there, and everywhere. And that's another conversation for another day. I'd be at home 2-3 days, gone 3, 4, 5 days. And so a lot of our first 2 kids, I missed a lot when they were growing up and stuff like that. So we could talk about that another day, another time. But So that's what we're doing in ministry. God's moving in a powerful way. Church is growing. We're at 2 services right now, and about to add a third. And we're running out of room. And a multicultural, diverse church. We have your Africans.
Come on,
We have Hispanics. We have white, your white people. Families, older, younger. All the aspects of our church is great. And we're a church of love, acceptance, and forgiveness. And our founding pastors, Bishop Jim and Pastor Robin Boland, when they started the church almost 41 years ago, and they're still there today. And so they wanted the church that were like heaven. And that's what every Sunday we're a church that looks like heaven. Every creed, every color, every nationality in there is like a melting pot. So that's what's happening. And still now, we pastor the church, and then as a campus pastor there. And then I still travel and speak on occasion, TV, and different stuff like that. We're working on a book. And so I'll put those details out later. Instagram at Randy Coggins. Randy Coggins the second. Randy Coggins the second on Facebook. And that's me, babe. You want to say anything on your end?
No.
This is Kharie.
The stylist, the specialist.
Whatever you see, walk.
All of her social media stuff can be found on my social media.
Okay.
Her handles are all there.
There we go.
Hey, thank you guys. This is amazing.
Thank
Thank you all so much. It's
Thank
so
you.
fun.